Back with another slate breakdown for the wonderful and amazing WNBA playoffs. If you guys have not been watching the playoffs, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're watching. Unless it was the NFL on Sunday. I understand that. I get it. Kind of sucks that the finals are going on at the same time as the start of the NFL season. But hey, tonight you have no excuse not to watch this amazing, good matchup between the Suns taking on the Aces and what is really going to be not necessarily a slugfest like what we had in the Sky and the Seattle and all those last two matchups, but this match right here is still a pretty good matchup. Was a low scoring game the first time out, but still some pretty good teams going up against each other, and I cannot wait to dive into this right here, and we're going to go ahead and get this breakdown. But before we do that, let's get some stuff out of the way. If you're new here, welcome to the No Days Off DFS channel. I'm your boy Zoe, and here, this is where I do some breakdowns for WNBA, NFL, NBA when that rolls back around, and I'm part of the No Days Off DFS group. And if you would like to join us, check down the link in the description below for the Patreon. It's only $10, and I promise you, you make that back within your first week. We drop picks, and not only just picks, but DFS scores for Prizepicks, Draftkings, FanDuel, Underdog, Sports Battle, you name it, we got it. And those picks are not just for WNBA or NFL. We also will have NBA, hockey when that comes back around. We dropping picks for MLB, golf, NASCAR, pretty much all the sports out there. We're even gonna have your league when that starts rolling around, especially for the women. My boy BK, there's none other like him. He grinds this stuff year round for the ladies, and honestly puts his heart and soul into this content, and that'll still be continuing. And if you would like to get those picks, you would like to see it, check down the link in the description for that. It is only $10. All right, now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead. Let's break down this game. If you guys were able to watch that first game, then in the beginning, it honestly looked like the Aces were getting ready to run away with it. Definitely looked like the Sun. They came out there a little sluggish. Didn't end too bad. It was a 67-64 game total, of course, in favor of the Aces. Low scoring total, unlike what we're seeing in the past two series where they were pretty high scoring, at least scoring in those high 70s, low 80s, and then of course we had that one overtime game. So a little bit of a grinded out type game, but that's kind of to be expected when you're playing against the Connecticut Sun, who actually are a pretty good defensive team. And then when you have a high power offense in the Aces, they're going to try to push the pace and pretty much beat you by outscoring you, which is what they ended up actually doing. It came down to the wire, down towards the end, and they were able to actually accomplish that. So as I go through this breakdown, I'll be breaking down the DFS side, especially because we have Showdown and DraftKings. They have a really, really nice pool today, 10K up top. $15 entry. Definitely, if you guys can, go ahead and get into that because we really do not see those big of a contest for the WNBA. It's very rare that we get them, and when we do, man, you guys got to jump on it, especially 10K up top, man. It doesn't take too much to set yourself apart, especially for WNBA. A lot of people don't follow it, but that's why you guys are here, so you guys can get some tips and tricks so we can know what you got to do. All right, going ahead, let's go ahead and break this down. Starting on the Sun side, of course, as you know, we got the starters: AT, DeWanna Bonner, Jonquil Jones, Courtney Williams, and Natasha Heidemann. I didn't see anything on the injury report in regards to anybody missing or being out. Really, it's the playoffs, so we're going to focus on those starters. The starters are going to be the key to our success. Most of the usage is in the hands of the bigs for the Suns. Of course, with AT being the focal point, she's a do-it-all person in regards to her points, her rebounding, and her assist. She actually was the bright spot going out there for the Suns in that last game. She went out there, she dropped 53 fantasy points, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 steals, 5 assists. Of course, we know AT, she's turnover prone. She had a couple of turnovers, but when we look at her production, what she's done going up against the Aces throughout this whole season, I see a trend here. AT, she's a power forward / center. She can mix and match between those, but she really spends most of her time at the 4. If we look back at that last series, who did they play? Oh, that's right. The Aces played the Storm. Who is that power forward? Brianna Stewart, man. And she popped off. We have the same thing going right here with AT. Yes, AT cannot go out there and hit the 3, but what she lacks in that, she makes up in all the other departments in her rebounding and her assisting. And we know she's going to go ahead and go out there and do that once again. So when you're looking at a captain play, of course, AT and looking on the other side, Audrey Wilson, Chelsea Gray, these are the players that are going to stick out. Typically, that's going to be who everyone's going to want to try to shove into the captain spot. I don't hate it. Don't blame you. Definitely would consider it. It's definitely a considerable play. And once again, of course, to fill out your lineup, I definitely would love to have some AT. Now, when I'm looking at AT, looking at any props that I'm going to want to take, going over to Prizepicks, I've seen that they have her rebounding prop. Oh, something just happened. They have her rebounding prop sitting at 9.5. AT's gone over this in every single matchup going up against them. And when you look back at what they were giving up, going up against the Storm, they were still going over their rebounding prop. You had freaking Tina Charles popping off for like 18 rebounds in one game. Stewie, she was gobbling up rebounds. She had double-digit rebounds, and I want to say two or three of those games. I have to go back and look at those logs to confirm that. But they're giving up at least 7.8 rebounds to the power forward position. And as much time as she's going to be spending out there, she's the focal point of this team. She's played 36 minutes last time. They keep it close once again. I would expect still around that 36 to 38 minute type game right there for her. And as you see it, 11, 14, 12, 11, and just the position she's playing, I like that once again for her to be able to go for her rebounding prop if I'm taking anything for her right there in that spot. And then another prop that I actually don't hate is going to be her blocks and steals prop. They have it sitting at 1.5. When you look at it, she had 3 blocks, 3 steals last time. This is the only game she's for the regular season. She is 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 going up against this for this prop right here. So I don't hate it, definitely, especially with the minutes that she's going to be playing, the production. I know that the guards, they could be turnover prone for the aces and things of that nature. She could definitely get some blocks as much as Aja Wilson. She was playing on the interior on that inside right there, and then of course you got Kia Stokes as well. Whatever little shots that she's going to be able to get, At fine prop right there for her blocks and steals. That'll be a lean right there for me. But if anything, I'm gonna take that rebounding prop. And then another lean is going to be her fantasy points. Like I said, she's been pretty consistent going up against them for the season. 39, 43, that 129 right there, which is probably going to be the only time that she has actually gone underneath her fantasy score of 35. So if we're looking at anything, definitely those couple of props I would target. Now, if you watch these videos and the breakdown that I did whenever the Sun were taking on the Sky, the one player that I always harped on every single time whenever I broke down the Sky on their side is going to be DeWanna Bonner. DeWanna Bonner literally is the make or break for the Suns. In games that they win, there was a crazy stat I saw earlier where she's averaging like 23-ish points for games that they actually win. And then, of course, games that they lose, she's averaging around 17 points, which is very much true. It's very true. Last time going out there, she only dropped 3 points, which is really not DeWanna Bonner-esque. It's not something that we typically see for Bonner whenever she's out there. She's dropping those 19, 14 points. Double-digit scoring is typically the name of her game, especially. And then, of course, she has the assists, the rebounding, and things like that she can go out there and do. And she normally has about double-digit field goal attempts. She only took 9 attempts last time. So, Aces, they did a pretty good job in regards to defending her. But they really don't have, in my eyes, anybody that can actually truly defend Bonner, because you're putting Jackie Young on Bonner. I'm not scared of that matchup right there. Young is a pretty good defender, but still, it's just like the Kalia Copper matchup for Bonner here in this spot. It's just another feisty defender, and if she gets going shooting over her or just backing her down or things of that nature, she's gonna get going and she's gonna get hot. And if we look at what she did going up against the Sky last time out, yes, she popped off, then she had a down game. But yet she figured it out and she got it going, which is this what I'm gonna expect right here. I'm expecting her to bounce back. So just like I've said before in the past, I'm gonna take that game last time, those 3 points. Ooh, I'm throwing it out the window. That 18 fantasy points, I'm throwing it out the window. Because in all honesty, if Bonner was getting it going with her scoring and things like that, she's definitely put up a hell of a lot more fantasy points. And truly, when you're looking at this right here, if you want something that's going to set you apart and take you to the top, especially inside of a showdown contest, put Bonner as your captain play. I guarantee you she'll be single-digit ownership because everyone's going to look at what she did last time and they're going to fade it. You know, we're creatures of habit. Whenever we see something like that, we're not going to want to go and be uncomfortable and play that. So Bonner definitely has a nod for me for a captain play in this spot right here. And then as far as her other props that she had up, I really didn't find any interest in anything for her. Nothing that really stood out to me. Definitely, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at, say, her fantasy score, just because I do believe she's going to actually pop off. And again, this is a gut feeling. So definitely don't go by my gut. Go by your gut. 29.5. I know she can go over that. She was doing that going up against the Sky. Like I said, this outlier game, if she was actually able to pop off in regards to her scoring and just do a little bit more, be more comfortable out there, I know that she would have went over that for sure. So that's just a gut feel right there. Jonquel Jones, it looks like they finally have unleashed the beast. She's finally played 30 minutes in back-to-back games. She had 31 minutes going up against the Sky in that closeout game, and then she played 30 minutes last time. Now, be prepared for her to play 25 minutes this game. I'm not going to lie. I cannot, because I can't make this up. I swear, a player that is a superstar of a talent as Jonquel Jones, they really just, for some reason, don't want to play her minutes. Now, of course, that's the bias of within me, but don't take my bias, of course. Looking at it, Jones, of course, another fine play, but you're gonna have to pick your poison in regards to who are we gonna actually play. For me right now, I'm gonna put AT and Dewana Bonner ahead of Jones just because of the production and what they can do. And I know Jones, she's a ticky tacky, she getting in foul trouble. You're going up against Audrey Wilson, and they sent the Aces to the line a hell of a lot in that last game. The Aces were going to the line much more than what Connecticut was getting in that game all around. So definitely just the ticky tackiness and the fouls that I know that she can get in this position, not something I'm going for. Yeah, the Suns, they took 5 free throws. 5 free throws compared to the Aces taking 19 free throws in that game. If that doesn't tell you something, man, whoo, Jesus Christ. But I would expect that to kind of even out a little bit in this game. Hopefully they can correct that for sure. But Jonquil Jones, she's a fine play. Definitely not saying to fade her, but not anyone that I'm rushing to. And like I said, I got AT and Bonner a little bit ahead of her. Courtney Williams going up into this game. She was a kind of mid inside in that matchup. She only dropped 10 fantasy points in that and only had 5 points, 1 steal, 3 rebounds. Nothing for us to write home about. But when we look back at what she has done throughout the season going up against the Aces, she has been pretty productive. 13 points, 18 points, 16 points, couple of steals, blocks, and things like that of that nature. Again, just like Bonner, I'm going to give this an outlier. I'm going to say this is an outlier game right here. You have Jackie Young, not Jackie Young. You have Chelsea Gray and you have Plum trying to defend Courtney Williams, and then vice versa. You got Courtney Williams trying to defend her. Now, the only thing that gives me some hope with Courtney Williams is the fact that she played 36 minutes in that game, even though she was horrible. Even though she really didn't do much. She only took 9 field goal attempts, which when I look back at it, the field goal attempts that she was taking in these other games definitely is something that gives me a little bit of hope when it comes to it, because I know that she can definitely get those double-digit field goal attempts, which is something that I look forward to. But the thing with Courtney is just the fact that she's going to be a do-it-all. She'll get you a couple of assists, she'll get you a couple of rebounds. Maybe she'll nab a steal here, but definitely those points is the one thing that we want to pop off. To me, she's the veteran between her and Heidemann. But when I look back at the history and everything, Heidemann she's kind of pulling me in her direction. If I'm going to be honest, she's been pretty consistent. She, of course, is just a little bit cheaper than Courtney Williams. So that safety that Heidemann is going to give me kind of makes me want to go with Heidemann in this spot. Now, of course, if we're going to all GPP round, then definitely I would say Courtney Williams is going to be your player that you're going to play in this spot right here. Speaking of Heidemann, one prop that I would definitely consider for Heidemann, and this is just due to her production. If you jumped on that last game, then you know what I'm talking about. It's going to be her fantasy points scored. The last time they had her at 13.5 fantasy points, and of course she's blown that out of the water every single time she's played the Aces. Now they have her at 16.5. Definitely another play that I would take. Heidemann. They have her at 16.5 fantasy points, and as you can see, she's definitely gone over 16.5 every single time that she's played the Aces. She's done quite a little bit in regards to her scoring, of course, the assists and the rebounding. So that definitely gives me some hope, and she at least plays about 30 minutes a game. Definitely something I'll go to. Brianna Jones, unfortunately for me, I really am not going to be going to Bree Jones, and that's just because I'm only going to do one main line for me tonight. Bree Jones, she unfortunately will not be inside of my lineup. And that's just because she's, of course, the backup biggest playing off the bench. Now, unless Jones or someone gets into foul trouble, we're not going to see Bree Jones out there for a lot of those minutes. Yes, she played 17 minutes, and I know throughout the season she definitely had a heck of a lot of minutes. But when it's the playoffs and they're definitely trying to roll those starters and they're playing them heavy minutes, Bree Jones, she can come in and she can literally get you a point per minute. But at 17 points, at 6K, at 600, not worth it when I have Heidemann and all these other players that I definitely would rather get in at that price and try to make a much more balanced lineup versus just trying to, make sure I don't get a zero. I don't see the worth in that, and definitely not something I'm going to run or rush to right there. Yes, I expect them to make some adjustments, but still, Bree Jones, she's a off the bench player, the spark plug that they use. I don't see her hammering away or doing anything for us. Definitely, you can look at some unders for her, but I didn't see anything stuck out to me. Nothing for me to write home about. Carrington and Odyssey Sims, between the two, that's a coin flip right there. I'm going to be very honest with you. Carrington, she can come off the bench. She can definitely get hot. She can pop off a couple of shots. But for both of them, I'm really not going to expect them to play more than 10 to 15 minutes. I know throughout the season, of course, yeah, they got a couple of minutes, but Carrington, she hasn't cracked 10 fantasy points at all going up against them. And then, of course, Sims, she's only played, of course, in the playoffs. She only played 11 minutes, really did not do anything at all out there whatsoever. Really? They're not going to get you a zero is the best thing I can say about either one of these two if you're looking at them for putting them into your DFS line for a showdown. But I kind of would want to just stay away and just figure out a way to just use the starters, if anything, inside of my lines for what I'm building. And then, of course, all the other players that at the end of the bench, unless you see this game being a blowout, I'm not touching them. I would not touch them at all. All right. Going over to the Aces side of things. If you guys are coming in the chat and you guys want a question or anything like that, make sure you drop it down into the chat section. I'll definitely see it and I'll answer it to the best of my ability and things like that. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream. If you guys are enjoying it, please hit that like button. It definitely means a lot. Lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content that I'm putting out, and lets me know that I should just keep on going and doing more and more of this. More and more of these videos. All right, so going over to the Aces side of things. So of course you got Audrey Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and Kia Stokes will round out your starting five. I don't know why Line Star does not have Hamby or anyone else up here, which I know that Hamby, of course, she's coming back from that injury. Yeah, she's going to play a couple of minutes and things like that. But she still is worth of value, especially because in 11 minutes that she played last game, she had 2 points, a steal, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds. Granted, Kia Stokes, she still is seeing the bulk of those minutes. She played 26 minutes, but they're still kind of working Hamby back in. Now, I don't see them unleashing the beast in Hamby, of course, because everything's been working with them with Wilson really kind of playing in that small ball role that they've been rolling out there, giving Rakana Williams a bit of the bump and burn that she's been getting out there. So it's definitely going to be interesting breaking this one down. So of course, really not too much I got to touch on with Aja Wilson. Aja, she's a fucking beast. Really not too much to touch here. Yeah, looking at the season, she had 2 bad games going up against them, but this is the playoffs, man. She's playing 38 minutes. She's practically playing the whole game, literally. Out of everybody out there, she's playing 38 minutes, and that's been consistently going on since looking at the Storm series and what she's done through that. I don't care about the defensive assignment, things like that. They have unleashed the beast. She is finally clicking in her head, and there's one prop particular that I'm going to target for Aja in this spot, and that's going to be her free throw prop. Looking at her free throw prop, it's got her at 4.5. And this is going all the way back to the Seattle series. Going back there, when she finally got it clicking and realized that she needed to be aggressive and just, hey, I am an MVP player, she has not gone underneath 4.5 free throws at all. And then just looking at it, like I said, the free throw discrepancy that we saw in the last game, they took 18, 19 free throws compared to the Suns' amount of free throws. And we just know that Jonko Jones, she likes to foul. Bree Jones, she definitely gets some foul trouble. AT, Bonner, all of them have some definitely have some foul problems in that line. And definitely, I do love this part right here for that 4.5 free throws to go over. Now, if you're looking for another play that I do have some interest in, that could definitely be either a push or definitely go over. That's going to be her blocks and steals. 3.3 three blocks or steals. She's either pushed or gone over this, and this is also going back to the regular season, going against them for the season. So I like this right here once again, but I am going to target her free throw prop because that definitely has to me a much better chance to hit, and I'm not really kind of looking for that push, if you know what I'm saying. Some other plays for her definitely going to be her fantasy points or her points, rebounds, and assists. I have those as leans because 44.5, as we've seen looking back at her game log and her history, this is kind of getting on the tips of a little bit too uncomfortable for me. But of course, MVP caliber playing a shit ton of minutes. Definitely could see her getting there 100%. Of course, if you want to go off of Line Star's projection, they got a projection for 51.46 fantasy points. Don't hate it. Definitely a play. Now, as we're talking about for the captain spots and things like that for DraftKings or the MVP pot for FanDuel, looking at Aja Wilson, you can go ahead and shove her into that captain spot, but that's going to take literally the whole bulk of your bankroll. And then you're going to have to figure out how are you going to balance out this lineup? What else are you going to be able to play or put in to make a decent line? That's what I'm saying. I would rather, personal opinion, I think that we would rather put Wilson into a regular slot and not shove her into the captain slot. I haven't exactly figured out a spot exactly just how to get her into the captain and build out just yet. But if I do, check down the link in the description below for the Patreon. It'll be up there on that. Going down to Chelsea Gray. She started off a little rocky, shaky in the beginning of the game. Kind of seemed like she fell back down to earth technically in this game after coming off of a tremendous series going up against the Storm. But nonetheless, still dropped 26 fantasy points. Really, a lot of that was due to her scoring. She dropped 21 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Nothing else really for her to write home about. As we see, she does have pop-off potential. She's had 33 and 42 fantasy points going up against the Sun for the season. And then, of course, she has this mid-level 20. Once again, still, it's been been the Aja and Gray show throughout the playoffs thus far, and I don't think anything is going to change in regards to that aspect. So Chelsea Gray, of course, another fine option to play right here. And if you think she's going to get back to her old ways of popping off like what she has done going up against the Storm, definitely worth a look. But one thing that we do need to consider is the fact of the Sun have done a pretty good job of limiting guards. If we look back to the last series, what they did going up against Courtney Vandersloot and Allie Quigley, they held them down pretty well. So that's kind of what makes these guards right here for me for the Aces a little bit of a teeter totter for me in regards to what we're going to be looking at in regards to playing them. All right, here, going down to Kelsey Plum, Plum dog. She definitely had a bad outing. 15 fantasy points, only 6 points, which is kind of an anomaly for Plum. As you've seen throughout the season, she definitely popped off in this matchup. 18, 23, and 22 points. So for her to come out and only drop 6 points definitely means that they were doing something really good on her in regards to the defense. Really looking at Plum, I didn't have anything that I liked for her necessarily for props or anything like that. And I'm not going to write Plum out, even though she came off a bad game. Definitely have to consider her just because the scoring and the usage, everything that goes through them. I think this game is going to be much higher scoring for a fact than what the last game was. I think we'll see back to the means of that 70-ish point, 70 to 80 points, especially just how fast the Aces they run and play. So Jackie and Kelsey Plum, I'm going to have them in my player pool just because of the scoring, and I know how hot they can get. Um, and I'm just not going to go off of what they did last game. Now, if we're looking at it between the two, Jackie Young had the better game between the two of them. It looks like she finally is somewhat getting that scoring back. I know looking at her when she played going up against the Storm, really wasn't nothing for us to write home about. She popped off in the last game finally for 18 points. Took her forever to finally get back to that level. But um, 11 points in this last matchup. She took 12 field goal attempts. Definitely something to consider. Looks like her field goal attempts are back up. And then, of course, when we looked at it, looking at the history, she actually has done fairly well in this matchup throughout the season. So I definitely will be considering going back to her. And then if we look at it even more and look a little bit closer, that one game that she kind of would consider her down game, this was on the Suns' floor. So they're playing at home, if that gives us any hope. And of course, Jackie, I'm going to expect her to be a little bit more owned. Of course, 7,400 compared to Kelsey Plum at 8,400. Who you going to have more of? Kelsey or Jackie? And then, of course, Rakana Williams, like we said, she's playing those minutes. She's getting that burn. She popped off for 21 fantasy points on their home court early in the season. So definitely something that we can consider. She's getting the minutes, she's getting the burn. Definitely, she's going to be in your player pool. I don't see any reason to take her out. And then Kia Stokes, like I said, she's going to be out there. She's playing 20 plus minutes. And then she really didn't get any scoring going. She only took one field goal attempt in that last game, which is kind of, if I want to consider anything. So, kind of weird, but definitely someone to consider. Of course, she's not going to get you a zero. She's the starting center, so she's going to be out there. She's definitely going to get that burn and that run. Going back to it, I kind of overlooked this for a second. Sorry about that, guys. But Chelsea Gray, any prop that I'm looking at for taking for Chelsea Gray, the one prop that I do feel strongly about for Gray, and that is going to be none other than Gray's turnovers. She's sitting at 2 turnovers, and when you look back at her game logs and what she has done going up against the Sun for the season, she is 3 for 3. Well, 3 for 3 with one of those being a push for the season. She has 6, 2, 4, and 3 turnovers going up against them for the season. So at 2 right here, at worst she can get us as a push. We do know Connecticut, they are very good in regards to causing turnovers, and of course a player that has the ball in their hands quite a bit, like Gray does, definitely worth considering right there. And we've seen what the Sun can do in regards to the turnover department. Courtney Vandersloot, 8 turnovers in one of those games. CP3, 4, 5, 6 turnovers. So definitely worth playing that prop right there. Definitely something that I will have some money on right there as well. And then some other ones that I don't hate. Definitely would have it as lean is going to be her blocks and steals. She was 3 for 3 right there for this on the season. In regards to her blocks and steals, either getting a couple of blocks or a steal or so. I know she didn't have anything in that last game, but worth considering that she did do that during the regular season, and she is playing a ton of minutes. And then if you're thinking about it, taking the assist, 6.5. She is 0 for 3 on the regular season, and of course that last game of going over 6.5 assists on against them. Now I know she can pop off in regards to her assists because we did see it when she went up against the Seattle Storm. But if we look back at the last series, Sloot, the assist monster that we typically know her for, she wasn't hitting her assist prop going up against the Storm. I mean, not the Storm, going up against the Sun. So something for us to consider if you're looking for something right there. And then going down here to Plum, this is not by all means go jump on this play, but if you think that she's going to bounce back, I don't hate the The fantasy points prop, 27.5. She has gone over this every single matchup going up against them on the season right here. But of course, like we said, she is coming off of a down game. She had 33, 42, and 32 fantasy points. This is the lean. This is not by any means anything that I'm jumping and hollering for joy on. And then her turnovers. She actually is 1 for 3 on the regular season in regards to her turnovers. They have her at 2 turnovers, and she's only gone over this once, and that was in the first matchup that they played, the first game of the season. Other than that, she has not gone over her turnover prop against them, and she's actually done pretty good in regards to the playoffs, in regards to her turnovers as well. So something to consider right there. And then Jackie Young was the last one that I also had another one that I was looking at. And this is going to be another under right here. It's going to be under the assists. She's either pushed or gone over 3 assists going up against Connecticut for the season. Now, I know not Plum. I know Jackie can get some assists. Yes, she can. But that's not really the name of her game, not what she's out there to do or anything of the sort. So definitely worth looking at possibly if you guys are looking for something to fit into a 5-man. Definitely could consider Jackie Young under her 3 assists. Now watch this be the game that she decides she wants to pop off and be a point guard right here. But yeah, that's gonna be my breakdown for today's slate, guys. I'm gonna try to get a little bit of information and stuff up onto the Patreon if you guys would like to see that, and also see my official list of plays that I am going to be playing today. Definitely check down the link in the description below for that. It is only $10, and I promise you will make that back within your first week. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. Like I said, if you guys got anything you want to talk to me about, talk to me down in the comment section. Hit me up inside the Discord, and I'll do my best to my ability to answer those questions. Thank you guys for tuning into the stream, and I hope I will see